From Washington, this is VOA News. I'm David Byrd reporting. Belgian prosecutors have charged 4 more suspects linked to the deadly suicide bombings in Brussels last month that killed 32 people. Belgian Prime Minister Michel said his government and security forces will continue to be vigilant even with the new arrests.
Maar we weten ook dat we alert moeten blijven.
But we all know very well that we have to stay very alert and that we have to be very careful. That is why we are taking the needed measures. I can only repeat that at this very moment, a lot of military and police people are on the ground to maintain our level of security.
Also Saturday, Belgium's federal prosecutor said that Paris attack suspect Mohamed Abrini has admitted he was the man in the hat seen with 2 suicide bombers at Brussels airport March 22nd. Abrini, a Belgian of Moroccan descent, is also suspected to be linked with the Paris attacks. He is one of 5 people arrested in a series of raids Friday. But despite multiple arrests in connection with the November 13th attacks in Paris and the deadly Brussels bombings, Belgium's capital remains under the second highest terror alert. The United States and the Afghan government are calling on the Taliban to return to peace talks. At a joint news conference with Afghan President Ashraf Ghani in Kabul, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said the Taliban's participation in the peace process could help end the suffering of the Afghan people. Shortly after Kerry left Kabul, there were reports of 2 explosions. Their sources are not known, and it's not known if anyone was injured. The so-called Quadrilateral Coordination Group has been trying to get peace talks moving for months. This is VOA News. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders has won the Wyoming Democratic Caucus, the last nominating contest before the delegate-rich New York primary. The win was Sanders' 8th out of the last 9 nominating contests, including one for Democrats overseas. The Vermont senator said his recent successes show his campaign has momentum after early losses.
We are going to state after state, which I think has a more progressive outlook. We have won 8 out of 9 last contests. We're looking forward to New York and to other states as well.
Just 14 Democratic delegates were up for grabs in Wyoming. That's fewer than any other state, and even Sanders' win there does little to help him close the delegate gap with former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Clinton currently has more than half of the 2,383 delegates needed to win the nomination. The next primary for both the Democrats and the Republicans is April 19th in New York. Protesters in London Saturday called on Prime Minister David Cameron to resign after his family's financial affairs were included in the so-called Panama Papers. Gathered on Downing Street, where the Prime Minister's residence is located, protesters held signs reading "Time to go, chum," and "Defy Tory rule," among others. Speaking at his Conservative Party's spring forum early Saturday, Cameron said he should have handled the scrutiny of his family's tax arrangements better, and he promised he has learned his lesson. Cameron's admission came several days after negative media coverage and calls for his resignation. Greece's deputy foreign minister says the EU-Turkey repatriation program needs some improvements, but he is confident the program will be streamlined quickly. Nikos Zidakis made the statement after a visit by ministers from France, Italy, the Netherlands, and other EU countries to a migrant reception center in Athens. French European Affairs Minister Arlem Desir appealed to refugees not to risk their lives trying to come to Europe illegally. Dutch Foreign Minister Bert Koenders said that he was relatively optimistic that the deal the EU struck with Turkey would smooth the asylum process for migrants. Earlier on Saturday, 5 migrants, 4 women and 1 child, drowned when their boat capsized off the Greek island of Samos. And The Economist and Time magazine have joined the ranks of foreign news websites blocked in mainland China. The censorship was likely triggered by the magazine's recent cover articles critical of Chinese President Xi Jinping. For more on these stories, log on to our website. I'm David Byrd in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.